Brawlhalla ranked is a mentality. Your elo is based on the time you queue. Your elo is not the same as your skill level, and you are definitely not as good as you think. And what I mean by that, ranked in Brawlhalla is a bit different from other games because it's not a linear display of skill. Instead, it's a mix of knowledge and game sense, which you could discern as skill, but there's something I want to go over differently. In this game, anyone can beat anyone. No matter how good they are, no matter how much they know, anyone can beat anyone as long as the person they are fighting isn't prepared or don't know how to deal with a specific gimmick. And what I mean by gimmick is, as you ascend in the ranks, around 2000 elo to 2100 elo, and in rare cases at lower elo, or more so at lower elo too, you'll start to improve at the game. Your fundamentals will get better, your movement, spacing, just generally everything will get better, but you will still have weaknesses wherein you can't beat specific gimmick playstyles. And what I mean by gimmick playstyle is a playstyle that's attuned to beat one specific type of player. And there's a ton of examples of this, such as a good example would be the way I used to play Battle Boots, and there's video proof of all of this. I went very fast on Battle Boots from 2200 to 2500 within a few months, and I suppose that's very good. That's very good. That's really good. And at first, my playstyle, if you look back, it was entirely gimmick based. All I would do, my entire goal was to drag people off stage, and I didn't care about the risks associated with that, and I just kept dragging people off stage. And of course this worked, even against some professional players, because no one does that to that extent on Battle Week, so I was able to get that sense of how much risk I could take. But still, because of the simple way my playstyle was, if I overextended on Battle Boots, then I would be able to be full countered by anyone who knew good off stage. And with the way off stage works, as soon as you touch the edge, your opponent will know exactly where you are on the edge, and they can just hit you again. It doesn't matter if you get your jumps back. As soon as you touch the edge, they know you have to touch the edge again, so they can just wait for you and just keep taking you off the edge. Anyone who had a very good off stage beat out my Battle Weeks playstyle. So here's what I'm getting to. I have decided, somewhere along that lines, or like right before I got 2500, I decided to start toning down a bit the playstyle, but still keeping some of it because it was very good for clips. But the fundamental is I need to stay on stage, and what that did was it made the playstyle less of a gimmick and less fine-tuned to fight one type of player, and more so tuned to fight whatever came at me, if that makes sense. And what that did for me was allow me to beat even more people who I normally would not be able to. Like in this example, I'll show you. Like in this example, I queued Shotgun, a very good player, I assume. In the past, he's won several games when I was worse, and yeah, and I was able to actually win this, not by playing overextension, because I realized he was able to really easily like parry me off stage, so I just kept building up damage on stage. And a lot of people don't understand that even when you hit one attack, even if you intend to go for a string after, that one attack builds up damage. So as long as you can keep getting those attacks in, you're good. Interactions in Brawl are quite literally just interactions. When you get into a ranked match, you shouldn't think about, oh, their elo, how good they are, or what their like past tournaments have been. You should just think about, what are they doing? Why are they in front of you? What are they doing while they're in front of you? What happens if you go towards them? And that's basically neutral. And that's looking at the game in the most objective sense possible, ignoring all the bloat, which is elo numbers, which mean nothing. Anyone can beat anyone in this game, I'll stand on that. And it's only a matter of understanding your opponent's patterns and knowing what to do with it. Because once you have given up your mind or started to zone out in the game, you've lost 90% of your matches, especially against the gimmick playstyles that you know you cannot beat. I know everyone watching this has fought a gimmick playstyle that you know you can't beat, so I want you to ask yourself, why? Why can't you beat it? In this game, a lot of the weapons are very balanced. Even some weapons such as Spear, who seem like they have like a huge hit range or hitbox, they can't kill when you're on the ground. If you stay on the ground, they can't do anything. They have to use a signature to kill you if you're on the ground, or use down air into side air. And in that case, those are, in most cases, those are choreographed, so you can just use your reaction time to get away from that. But, as I was saying, now, if you're playing Brawl just to take your elo up, then that's also okay. But if you want to be able to do that effectively, you have to understand why you aren't gaining elo. Because in ranked, genuinely, some people have it easier than others. And one quick thing, never ever rematch someone if they're lower elo than you, because chances are if you just go forward and queue again, you'll queue them again anyways, and if you lose to them at any point, you will lose more elo than you would have gained if you won. So it's a lose-lose. If you win the game, you get less elo, and if you lose the game, you lose more elo. So you might as well just re-queue, because that gives you the chance of queuing someone who's higher elo, and if you lose to someone who's higher elo, you lose less elo and you gain more elo if you win. So just take advantage of people who rematch, always, especially if they're higher elo than you, but never rematch if they're lower than you. Just take advantage of that useless feature, man, because depending on the time you queue ranked, it'll decide who you queue, and if you have a playstyle that is incompatible with the other people you're fighting, and what I mean by playstyle that's incompatible, let's say your playstyle has is gimmicky, and is fine-tuned for only a few types of players, but not every single type of player. That's what I mean. And if you play ranked at a certain time of the day, the people you queue will be consistent almost every time, because of the way people's schedules work, because of the way people get off. And especially at higher elo, if you queue at a specific time when you know that people who are weak to your specific gimmick playstyle are on, you are almost guaranteed to gain elo. And to do this more effectively, join my Discord or any main Brawl Discord. You can use the /q command and it'll show you everyone who is in the queue for high elo. But back to this, what I'm saying with all of this is ranked isn't a measure of just objective skill. It's more of a measure of how many playstyles and gimmicks are you personally able to overcome before you're able to win. And that's the point I'm getting at here. And just to be more specific, by how many gimmicks you can like adapt to and learn is basically just that. Like, if your thought process and your gameplay is able to adapt to every single way, every single gimmick that people use, then you will have no weaknesses. And that's what every pro, that's how every pro does it. And what I recommend for that, read cross-ups. Cross-ups are when you go towards someone when they're at the edge of the stage, so you're limited their options. So that means they have to either go to the edge or come back to the center stage, and of course most people go center stage regardless of their elo. You don't want to be on the edge. And two, quite literally, just don't be greedy off stage. A lot of people, when they edge guard, they don't wait until their opponent touches the edge, because they know, oh, they're going to get their jumps back. No, let them get their jumps back if you know that they're going to be at a specific position or part of the edge, so you can just hit them again and bring them off. That's what I always do on battle beats. That's what I always do on That's why I use my slide charge as side stick, and I always wait until they touch the edge to use it. And it works every time because I can just keep using it because they have to touch the edge. It doesn't matter how many times they get their jumps back, I can still just keep building damage because I have that advantage state. And that's what I prefer to do. I prefer to do that now since it's safer. So thus, in a linear way, rank isn't about skill. It's more of about consistency and adaptability. Cause you could say skill should be able to determine who you can beat. If you're, let's say, 2500, you should have a 99% chance of beating a 2300, a 2400. But that's just not the case most of the time. Especially if that person has a playstyle that is your specific weakness. And at that point, if you know you have a weakness, you're not a professional player. And I know I have a few weaknesses, even though I am working on getting that gimmicky like type of nature out of my playstyle. So I still wouldn't even consider myself either. But that is the goal, objectively. And what to maintain this further, people who are 2300 will lose to people who are 2000 elo, and they'll see that as, oh, I'm horrible. That's a horrendous loss, and they won't realize that the reason behind that isn't because the person who is 2000 elo is better than them in any particular capacity, because you could have the greatest spacing in the world, you could have the best movement in the world, but if you fall short on specific aspects such as let's say you queue a great sword player that you just don't know how to deal with. Let's say you just dodge every time you get hit by the first opener, and this great sword player just keeps using that against you. That's when you, for not being able to just see that and adapt to that. If you go into a game with full confidence, you won't be able to see your flaws. But if you go into the game with like no confidence, then you won't learn anything either. Because you'll just assume that you've already lost. You need to find that balance. And the way to find that balance is just looking at the game again in the most objective way possible. And thinking about it in terms of neutral. When you approach someone, what do they do? When you hit someone, what do they do? Where do they go? Follow them like a line. And as soon as you take someone off stage, that's also a different category. People act differently off stage as opposed to when they're on stage. That's why I realized when playing Battlefields is that if you drag someone off stage, their dodge options are consistent again, but they're different to when they're on stage. And of course, usually it's because they want to get back on stage, obviously. And what that has done for me is let me just categorize how people play, regardless of how good they are, into just 3 categories. What are they doing when I get close to them? What are they doing when I hit them? And what are they doing when they get took off stage? And of course, applying positional knowledge, like knowing when they stuck at the edge of the map and going towards them, like knowing where their options are low, that also helps as well. But by any means, you shouldn't take a loss to heart ever in Brawl, because there's just no reason to. No one genuinely cares if you win or lose within the next week or a day or 2 days. All you need to do is just get better. Not get better, but genuinely just have a look at yourself, look at the game objectively, and literally just go interaction by interaction, and you'll improve severely. Everyone will, I assume. This game is really balanced, I would say, regardless of how good your weapon is or how good the legend you're playing is. You can play Giro at a high level competitively and rank, and I think that just shows wonders. And the only thing with Giro, you just have to have an extremely good edge guard. Wait till they're on the edge, and just hit them again. And that's what I see most Giro players do, and it works because they're just playing safe. They're not doing anything extra. They're giving themselves weaknesses. And that's the beauty of Brawl, in my opinion. Because if in a game like this where there's rank, there's tournaments, there's an esports scene, if anyone can beat anyone, then the game is thriving, in my opinion. I don't know if this makes sense to anyone. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next one.